In de vorige video hadden wij weer een nieuwe hideout gevonden, terwijl wij op zoek waren naar de killer. Die dus mogelijk een vriend is van de oude barman. Die mannetjes zijn weer gerespawned, zie ik. Interessante gedachte. Dat die vijanden dus respawnen bij... hoe heet het? Op het moment dat je... saved. Ik zeg een interessante gedachte, maar eigenlijk is het natuurlijk gewoon heel logisch. Track the killer. Follow the blood trail. Ja, die loopt hier zo. Die deur kan ik niet in. Die blood trail is ook echt enorm.
Fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
There's an unknown person.
As one, we shall overcome this. We've done it before.
No, I had a drink outside tonight already and it did not quench my thirst.
Used scythe. Equip a two-handed weapon.
I must have more.
Oké. Hoe doen we dat? Dat ding equippen. Goeie vraag. Hoe equip ik een wapen? Vraag je me wat?
William, please stop.
Oh, hier. Serums heb ik niet. Als ik nou zeg, ik wil in mijn offhand... Ja, kijk, dan kan ik ook die pistols zetten. Die zeis doet meer damage. Hij attackt langzamer, maar hij kan wel pareren. Hoe we dat dan doen, dat weet ik niet.
You're my last and dearest friend.
This place reeks of bloodshed.
Hier zit hij.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
William Bishop. Ja, dit is een bos. Hij is inderdaad bedeviled, deze creature. Hij is ook dood. The Lord is my shepherd. Used bludgeon. Nee, daar was ik te laat mee. Maar goed, William Bishop, die heeft zijn tijd gehad. Hier zit iemand.
William, please. William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
I knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred
Mr. Hampton.
Listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I must return to my flock. They'll stray without me.
Kom eens. Iemand helpt mij.
Remember, certain skulls are every bit as resistant as we are.
Who are you? What do you mean by
Skull.
skull?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
En deze priester. Wat kunnen we met hem?
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders.
Hé, het is die
Patience,
man
good fellows,
uit de
I've
kroeg.
come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed his drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
There, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me.
Oké, dus we gaan op zoek naar informatie.
This poor creature can't be my maker.
Blood sample of William Bishop.
Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood.
Oké, board de boot. Toch worden we vertrouwd nu ineens door deze man. Die is niet langer bang voor ons, lijkt het. Bijzondere vaartechniek, achteruit.
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... What manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... Who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. Well,
Don't we all?
As peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal. If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea.
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science.
A man of
A
science.
physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
Ja, hij weet onze naam
Reed
ineens.
for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it. I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research.
Hij is idolaat van ons.
England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again. From a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you
Hij
are
stopt in
right.
één keer met varen.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this... affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes.
Nou, dit is wel gewaardeerd, ja.
What do you say?
It seems I have little choice. But yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Geef ons nou die schone kleren dan. Pembroke Hospital. Ziet er ook vervallen uit.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
Oké. Wat is nu de bedoeling? Ja, ik kan gaan lopen, dat is de bedoeling. Ik heb geen objectives. Take me to a hospital. Chapter 1. Analyze the blood in the hospital. Mission update. Oké. Nou, dan gaan we dat maar eens even doen. Hier liggen geen items verder. Kan hier ook niet naar boven. Misschien kan ik helpen. Ik kan niet helpen. Er wordt hier gevochten.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seeds of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Bastard gave me a good poke.
Filmpje.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you ass.
Oké, we kunnen kiezen. Medical checker, press for details. We moeten hem polite laten zijn.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here.
We kunnen er dus voor kiezen om hem te consumeren. En om hem te helpen, mogelijk.
That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Oké. De blood quality. Ja, maar willen we deze man doden? Mesmerize. Q. En dan?
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Follow the red trail to lead your prey into the shadows. Je kan hem embracen of releasen. Oké, dus ik kan hem killen en dan zijn er consequenties. Ik kan hem ook laten leven en dat is natuurlijk altijd beter. Want ik ben een goede man.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
Kijk, we gaan voor... anders hadden we echt dikke XP gekregen waarschijnlijk. Kan ik nu weer praten met deze man? Nee, hij gaat hier wel relaxed zitten. Ik kan wel met hem praten.
What happened?
Hier is een kistje. Er zitten misschien weer wat belangrijke spullen in. Kijk, tiny common handle part. Mogelijk weer handig voor upgrades later. Springs.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Oké. Dus we krijgen hier de tip dat we niet zomaar iedereen kunnen laten leven, omdat we toch bloed nodig hebben als vampier zijnde. Is weer een kistje. Ja. Aluminum powder. Hier zijn we dan bij het ziekenhuis. Come on, I don't have all night. Er liggen allemaal patiënten in bed. Kan ik met die arts praten, ja?
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also
Kijk, we kennen
confident
elkaar.
about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Medical check-up. Press for details. Ik ga... Mesmerize? Dat gaan we toch niet doen, jongen. Ik ga er niet iedereen vermoorden.
What is the Pembroke Hospital?
2 hints required om dingen vrij te
And
spelen.
please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Nou, vertel eens wat.
Tell me more about cherished people then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
New hint available.
I'll
Kijk
go
aan,
even
heel goed.
further. If she was a man,
Gwyneth Brannigan,
she would be
new
a
hint
damn
available.
fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept.
Burden of
also
command.
As a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Hint required, hint required. We hebben net wel een hint gekregen, maar... Misschien later nog nodig. Ook allemaal hints required. Oké.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Dus we moeten meer hints krijgen over deze man. Glass vials. Er staat nog een nurse. Is er verder aan deze kant nog iets te vinden? Patiënten, patiënten, geen items. Ik heb geen haast, mevrouw. Ik ben rustig hier aan het ontdekken. Kijk, want hier ligt... Oh nee, dat is gewoon zonlicht. Ik wil zeggen, daar ligt een item, maar dat is niet zo. Een beetje op ontdekkingstocht. Kijk, hier weer een poster. Influenza. Ja, die Spaanse griep, ja. Heb je de Spaanse griep, blijf dan thuis. Nou, dat hebben we een goede tip. Nou, gaan we wel eventjes naar die zuster hier, want die zit toch op mij te wachten. Hallo zuster.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Heel goed.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Zo.
Thank you.
We komen die man tegen in de boot en ze hebben gelijk al een deur geregeld met naambordje.
Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Nou, dankjewel. We hebben nog wel wat vragen.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
Ik wil informatie, hè.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Okay.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
I've only just met him, yeah.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Okay.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Oké, nou dankjewel voor deze informatie.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Dus dan gaan we maar op zoek. Find your office. Eerst een beetje hier rondlopen, te kijken of er nog spullen te vinden zijn. Kijk, hier is een kastje. Glass vials, hartstikke handig. Alle spullen die we kunnen vinden zijn meegenomen. Hè? Hey, hier staat iemand. We kunnen mee praten.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
No,
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Ah, hij verkoopt wapens. Interessant.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done.
De Milton ging ook die man ophalen naar beneden.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Okay. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Do investigation.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Oké. Hints required, die ik allemaal nog niet heb. Oké.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Ik gebruik helemaal geen guns. By Milton. Ja, handleparts. Dat is niet nodig. Milton's shotgun. Wat ik zeg, ik gebruik helemaal geen shotguns. Ik kan geen wapens verkopen, ja, dan niet. Midnight, enter the backyard garden. Ja, nou goed, waar dat dan is, weten we ook nog niet. Misschien ontdekken we dat later nog. Oh, bloedsporen, allemaal kisten waar ik niet in kan kijken. Nee. Oké. Nou, dan gaan we weer verder op zoek. Hier is een kistje die een beetje licht geeft. Kijk, daar kan ik wel in kijken. Small bottles. Dit is Milton, hè? Toch? Die is hier naartoe gelopen? Ja. Oké, dit is die nurse Dorothy. Er zit weer een andere. Er is weer een andere.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, doctor.
Ik heb daar ook eens even mee gepraat. Ik wil informatie.
My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Pippa Hawkins.
Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, doctor.
Oké, nou we kunnen van haar achterkomen.
How would you describe the situation?
Hints required om meer dingen te kunnen vertellen. Dat moeten we dus gaan vinden.
Havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold.
Zo erg zal het niet zijn.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Oké.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning.
Goed, we moeten dus eerder in de game hebben we al gezien dat we uit een prullenbak een hint hadden gevonden.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just
Mogelijk moeten we over al die mensen in het ziekenhuis ook informatie vinden in bakken, kastjes.
I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Oké.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Nieuw hint available bij Milton Hooks.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned. Milton is not the chatty type.
En nu hebben we dus wel weer iets geleerd over Milton. Daar hebben we allemaal weer hints voor nodig. Mogelijk kunnen we dat weer bij Milton navragen, wat zij ons net heeft verteld. Milton.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Ja, we proberen zeker dingen te redden. Hier, your mediocre reputation.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were proper.
Hij heeft dingen gezien, daardoor is hij een beetje cynisch geworden.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Verder nog iets nieuws meegekregen? Nee.
Goodbye, Milton.
Nou, dan gaan we even verder kijken in het ziekenhuis. We hebben toch weer iets over Milton geleerd. Dan gaan we op zoek naar ons kantoor. Hier is nog een poster waar ik naar kan kijken, zag ik. Hier, wat ligt hier? Een zilveren boekje. Ik kan daar niet naartoe. Nee, ik kan daar niet naartoe.
This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Hier loopt iemand, een patiënt.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Kijken of die ons iets kan vertellen.
And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
Mortal.
You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed.
Zij is een vampire. Ah.
I'm a vampire.
Okay.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this
Identiteitscrisis, deze vrouw.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
Okay.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad.
New hint available.
You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Dus je kunt ook door met mensen te praten ook nieuwe hints krijgen.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Ja.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe
Zij heeft vijanden ook nog.
But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Ah, de garden. Daar was ook die beeld in aangevallen.
They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Oké. Sorry hoor. New investigation.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of
unholy life. Ja, tuurlijk. Ja, voor de rest heb ik meer hints nodig die ik nog niet heb.
I'll leave you, mistress of the dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Oké. Daar zit ook een patiënt. Hier hangt weer een poster die we kunnen bekijken. Kijken wat deze patiënt ons te melden heeft.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right.
Head
doctor.
surgeon.
German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars.
Hij heeft pijn. Hij heeft pijn.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started
The
to
old
think I was
entire
forgotten about.
doctor.
Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Oké. Hint required. Die heb ik nog niet. Hey, hier hebben we wel een hint gekregen.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful.
Zo hebben ze elkaar toch mooi gevonden, hè? De ene is kapot aan de binnenkant. Nieuw hint available. Thomas Elwood. Kijk, Social Circle. Thelma Howcroft. Ze gelooft dat zij een vampier is. Ja.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Ja, dat geloof ik, hè.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Medical check-up. Ja, we hebben iets voor de pijn nodig. Tenminste, hij wil iets voor de pijn. Maar dat hebben we niet paraat op dit moment.
For now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain.
Kijk, al die lui die in bed liggen, daar kan ik niet mee praten. Al die lui die gewoon ergens zitten, kan ik wel mee praten. Hey, dit is die dude die we gered hadden.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps.
Delirious.
But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
En dan moet je misschien niet op een mat zo gaan zitten.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Okay.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Okay.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Ja, die hebben wij ook ontmoet.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
The Wet Boot Boys, wie is dat?
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show.
Clay Cox, die hebben wij ontmoet.
Assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been through?
We hebben Clay Cox ontmoet.
No.
Went
I've had
missing.
this nickname for so long.
En die hebben we laten leven.
The sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint. Not even criminals.
Maar waar is die Clay Cox dan nu gebleven?
Watts, the bartender from the Turtle. I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Oké.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Oké. Nou, deze informatie hebben we. Hebben we nog personal questions? Ja.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Dus hij is niet officieel iets met het geloof.
Against William Bishop. To repel him somehow.
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Je moet geconsecreerd zijn, hè? Is het verhaal. Tegen vampieren moet je geconsecreerd kruis hebben. Door een priester. Gewijd.
She lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion.
Beyond exhaustion.
William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest.
Nou, geslapen dan.
And then I can go
Als
back
je rust
to
nodig hebt.
need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Nou, eens kijken wie we nog meer kunnen vinden hier. Deze deur zit op slot. Die hebben we allemaal al mee gesproken. Er is geen receptionist aanwezig. Hier is nog een kamer. Waar niemand is. Maar wel een kist. Dus we kunnen even pakken. Small bottle. Is dit die backyard? Deze deur kan open. Ja, dit is de backyard. Prullenbakje. Public notice. Als je griep hebt. Kistjes. Nee, hier is niks. Hier is ook niks. Hier is ook niks. Oh, hier is de backyard. Ja, inderdaad.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Rogue Skull. Ja, hier zit er een in. Een vampier. We zijn dus op zoek naar die portemonnee, maar... Find the lost wallet. Thomas Elwood, er zijn al die gasten daar binnen, ja. Ik heb die gast gekild. Hier is ook nog een Rogue Skull. Er zijn heel veel Rogue Skulls, 3. Baas. Dit ziet eruit als een lost wallet. Milton and Pippa forever.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Nou, inderdaad. Keep out. Nou, dat moeten we dan inderdaad maar doen. Quarantine area. Bring back the wallet to its owner. Kijk, ik vind hier allemaal items. Bring back the wallet to its owner. Nou, laten we dat eerst maar eens even doen. Zij zit weer hier. Nou, Milton, ik heb jouw wallet. Waar ben je? Hier zo. Milton, ik heb je wallet gevonden.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Always. I found your wallet. Personal questions. Hint required. Oh.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet. With all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Oké. Nu kunnen we er wel iets naar vragen.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Okay.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Okay.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
Oké. Nou, dan hebben we die vragen ook gesteld.
What's going on, Pippa's?
Ja, dit is weer dezelfde vraag. Oké. Oké.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan
Kijk,
Reed.
deze nurse hebben we nog niet ontmoet. Nurse met bril.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir.
Ah, Brannigan.
I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan.
Kijk,
Welcome to the
daar hebben we al veel over gehoord.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Heb je nog wat nodig?
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Oké. Informatie.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Nou,
Sorry,
inderdaad.
Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast.
Allemaal vrijwilligers.
How do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Ja, dat is inderdaad wel
I'm not familiar
lastig.
with the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippets. He should be a standard for us all here. If only
En Dr. Tippets hadden we ook al gezien natuurlijk.
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Kijk, een hint over Dr. Tippets.
If you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
Kunnen we weer bij hem
I
navragen.
may disagree with some conduct, but in the end everybody is doing their best.
Daar gaan we maar vanuit. Hè. Personal questions? Ja.
Why does Dr. Tippets claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippets does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Oké, nou, die Dr. Tippets die heeft haar wel hoog zitten.
Goodbye, nurse.
Maar we kunnen ook weer bij Dr. Tippets nu weer een nieuwe vraag stellen. Denk ik. Maar we weten niet waar die is. Die staf die loopt dus de hele tijd rond in en om de hospital. Dus om met iedereen de hele tijd te ondervragen, dat maakt het wel wat lastiger.
Good evening, Dr. Tippets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
En we hebben nog een nieuws gekregen. We hadden een hint gekregen. Oh ja, hier, you are exhausted. Ja.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Oké.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
Oké.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippets.
Nou, volgens mij hebben we dan nu met iedereen gesproken met wie er te praten valt. Dus laten we dan maar op zoek gaan naar ons kantoor op de tweede verdieping. Of kunnen we hier nog naar links? Hier ben ik nu niet geweest. Er loopt nog iemand. Hier is nog een ziekenzaal. Oh, kijk, hier zijn nog heel veel mensen.
What can I do for you, doctor?
Haar hebben we al wel gesproken, dat is niks
Thank
nieuws.
you, Nurse Crane.
Nee, niks nieuws. Oké. Hier zitten er een hoop. Wie is dit?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Ja, laten we even onszelf voorstellen aan iedereen die we tegenkomen.
Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Overrated dabblers?
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get.
Dat denk
You
ik
will agree
ook.
with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Oké.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Hij heeft
Since your
ideeën
tenure
over
in
ons.
this
Hij
hospital
mag ons
is
niet.
longer than mine. Perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, But over time, his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Ja, dat is logisch. Nieuw hint available. Hij geeft voor de patiënten. Of hij geeft om de patiënten. Nou, dat is niet per se nieuw voor een arts natuurlijk.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Oké. Nou, dan hebben we alles wel gezegd wat we hier kunnen zeggen.
Thank you for your time.
Er stonden nog wat doktoren in deze kamer. En patiënten.
As for me,
Good evening, sir.
Kennis maken met iedereen. Informatie.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Het is met zijn
Is there
arm.
anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Oké. Dat kan hij ons vertellen.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Ja, dat is waar.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Ja, we mogen niet zelf opereren. Hint required, hint required, hint required. Oké, meer informatie krijgen we niet van deze man.
I'll see you later.
Maar er zaten nog meer mensen hier. Briefje, unfinished letter. Een nieuwe hint voor Mr. Fiddick. Kunnen we gelijk even navragen. We hebben een brief gevonden.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Kijk, unfinished
You
letter.
seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Zijn vrouw is dood. Krijg gelijk een nieuwe hint.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea.
Nee, inderdaad. Dat
I
weten we
just
niet.
know that I'm all that my kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Kijk, dan hebben we die nieuwe informatie ook weer gebruikt.
I'll see you later.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Deze medicijnkast kan ik nog inkijken. Glass vials.
Good evening, doctor.
Dit is ook weer een arts die we nog niet hebben ontmoet.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Nou, graag gedaan. Heb jij hulp nodig?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Oké. Hey, we hebben al gelijk een ding vrijgespeeld.
Something about yourself.
I'm a great admirer
Good to
of
know.
your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Interessant.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Oké.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Ja, hij heeft heel veel vertrouwen in de
I based
cause.
my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the
Weer een
first
nieuwe
one.
hint vrijgespeeld.
But I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Kijk.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy?
Jealousy.
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Oké. Hij heeft een beetje ruzie met Dr. Ackroyd.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Oké, nou graag gedaan. Do you need my help? Ja.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see.
Oké.
Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Kijk, mochten we nog in de stad komen, dan kunnen we weer ingrediënten opzoeken.
It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Nee, dat geloof ik. Nou, dan hebben we alles gevraagd, behalve het persoonlijke gedeelte.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Oké. You must remain neutral. Als arts zijnde, hè?
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Informatie over Fiddick. Kunnen we zo weer naar vragen.
Could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Personal questions, heb ik nog weer hints voor nodig.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
En dan kunnen we bij Mr. Fiddick weer wat navragen. En dan ook bij die Dr. Ackroyd, denk ik.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Dit is niet nieuw. Dit is wel nieuw.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Ja, dat is gewoon pech.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, doctor.
Ja, nu hebben we alles,
Goodbye for now.
alles besproken van Mr. Fiddick.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Strickland heeft misschien nog nieuwe dingen. Kijk.
Tell me, Waverley, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Oké. Assume the consequences. I trust your judgment. Ja, dat weet ik niet. Ken die man niet.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
Kijk, nu hebben we alles hier ook weer besproken.
We'll talk later.
We hebben hierachter nog een kantoor waar ik nog niet ben geweest. Hier zit ook nog een patiënt en een vrouw met een hoed.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Kan ik met hun praten? Ja.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed?
I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Oké.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
I have other concerns right now, Doctor. But I'm fine, thank you.
Nou, ondervragen maar weer, hè. Jullie zien in deze video veel mensen ontmoeten we die veel informatie hebben. Het is mogelijk niet zo heel spannend, maar goed, informatie is ook belangrijk. Informatie is ook belangrijk.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young
Docent
women who are more
ben ik
ambitious
ook.
about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were
Een
not
nieuwe
especially
hint.
welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Oké.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Ah, Pippa Hawkins, die gaat voor het geld. Ja.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Oh, dat moeten we eventjes
I share your
ondervragen.
concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not...
Moeten we weer met die mensen gaan praten daarbuiten. Geld vragen voor een ziekenhuisbed als arts zijnde. Dat is wel gek. Allemaal hints nodig die we niet hebben. Oké. Nou, laten we die zoon eens gaan bekijken hier. Waar heb je last van, dude?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
Help him.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
Okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Okay.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Okay.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest then.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
Is dat alles? Nee, toch?
How are you?
I'm okay.
Dat hebben we al gevraagd.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Nou ja, hij wou niet praten. We must communicate.
How painful.
So painful.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Ja, die moeder moet weg. Dat is het verhaal.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Kan ik haar vragen te vertrekken?
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Dit is allemaal niet nieuw. Dit is ook niet nieuw. Nee.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswell.
Nee, moeten we even met die driver en die andere nurse gaan praten. Waarom ze geld hebben gevraagd voor een ziekenhuisbed. Ben ik wel benieuwd naar.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Dat is mijn werk, hè? Kunnen we niet naar vragen.
Goodbye, Milton.
Nee. Dan moeten we die vrouw hebben. Dit is niet de vrouw die ik zoek. Ik zoek die vrouw met dat halflange haar, zijn vriendin. Zij, ja.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Niet? Oh ja.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes. Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Ja, we kunnen dus niet vragen naar het feit dat zij geld heeft gevraagd voor een bed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Dat was zij, toch? Citizen menu. Clay Cox, ja, die hebben we gevonden. Fatigue. Cure with treatment for fatigue. Die zou ik kunnen craften. Ik heb mijn crafting menu. Ik heb niet mijn crafting menu. Nee, want dan moet ik bij zo'n table staan, denk ik. Local investigations. Dr. Waverly Ackroyd. Reach the pharmacy. Milton Hooks. Hebben we gehaald. Find out who is spying on Thelma. Oké. Nou, laten we dan... Kennen we deze vrouw al?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Oh, Nurse Hawkins, ja. Ja. Ik herkende je niet vanaf de achterkant. Sorry, Nurse Hawkins. Sorry. Do not cough in public. Thelma nog wat nieuws te melden?
How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Kijk, Thomas Elwood.
Tell me, Thelma.
We hebben over haar
Why do you feel
gesproken.
so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Okay.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Oké. Heb je nog hulp
Do you
nodig?
require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
Oké.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Nou. Volgens mij hebben we nu dan iedereen wel gezien. Hier was ik al geweest. Hier hangt nog een poster, die heb ik ook al gezien. Hier is nog een kastje. Een long letter. Pippa Hawkins, new hint available. Oeh, dit zullen we eens eventjes ondervragen. Pippa was deze met die hoofddoek.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Kijk, we hebben weer een brief gevonden. Leaving the hospital.
Pippa, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
Streets.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
En zo ontdekken we steeds meer over de mensen in het ziekenhuis. Kijk, dit kastje was verder, er zat nog eentje zit op slot. Kunnen we niet in. Deze kastjes zijn allemaal open. Wat is hier achter nog? Niks. Hier lopen we op straat. Hier is een prullenbak. Small bag of junk. Mooi man. Nou, hup, de trap op. Gaat dat nu eindelijk gebeuren? Wat kunnen we hier nog allemaal vinden? Kastjes, die zijn allemaal open, er zit niks in. Die deur kan ik ook niet in. Dr. Swansea. Oké. Not now, oké. Dan niet. Deze deur kan ik niet in. Wat zit hier? Een zaag. Used hacksaw. Oké. Elwood's medical file. Followed by Dr. Tippett. Oké, dan kunnen we weer met Thomas Elwood praten voor nieuwe informatie. Kastje openen. Dr. Tippett. Dr. Reed. Kijk, dit is mijn kantoor.
It's locked, all right.
Ja. Nou, we kunnen weer met Mr. Elwood gaan praten. Dus we hebben weer wat nieuwe informatie over hem geleerd. We kunnen ook nog verder naar boven. Willen we dat? Nee, dat kan niet. Mr. Elwood, we hebben weer informatie over jou.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Of moeten we dan vragen naar Dr. Tippett? Want die heeft hem in behandeling. Nee, hier.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Lekker dan.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Hint failed.
Why do you feel
I wasn't.
Why luck?
I don't want to.
Nee, meer kunnen we dus niet...
Goodbye
We hadden een vriendelijkere methode moeten proberen, mogelijk. Waardoor we hem hadden kunnen helpen. Nou ja, goed. Tijd om het kantoor in te gaan. Hier is ons kantoor.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own.
Telt ook als een hideout.
At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water.
Oké, nou, al die kastjes even openen. Dragonbane. Oh, er gebeurt iets. Oké, we zijn gaan slapen zonder dat ik dat heb ingedrukt. Interessant. Want ik heb nu dus ook die Dragonbane. Dat is een wapen. Use hacksaw, use bludgeon. Ja, en ik heb gewoon nu die zeis, two-handed. Even kijken, wat kunnen we hier nog meer vinden? Hier hangt nog een briefje aan de muur. Secure an office for you. Dr. Swansea's message. Dankjewel, Dr. Swansea. Oh, die lokker is de manier om te slapen. Is dat het? Daar lijkt het op, ja. Daar lijkt het op. Deze workbench. Deze workbench, daar moeten we iets. Voor de analysis. Maar dit is een bed. Oh, bij die lokker kleed ik mezelf om. Dat is het. Ik heb nu andere kleren aan dan net. Nee, laat ik de workbench gebruiken. Treatment for fatigue. Kijk, we hebben kinine nodig. En solution. Dit is trash. Ja, die kan ik recyclen. You first need to analyze the components you found. Click on the to analyze components. Analyze. Light regeneration serum. Oké. Die kan ik niet maken.
Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Ja. Plant wat water nodig.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Ja, hier is een kraan, maar ik kan niks pakken. Ik heb geen bekers, ik weet het niet. Maar goed, we gaan maar slapen. En dan op naar de volgende dag. Dat is het plan. Nieuwe skills kunnen we nog leren. Defensieve skills. Agressieve skills. Shadow Mist. Ja. Ja. Meer health. Meer healing. Dat is wel handig, hè. Meer health, meer healing. Oké. Voor biting. Die andere moet ik hoger level voor zijn ook. Level 6 required, dat heb ik niet. Meer health, altijd handig. Confirm. Nou, tijd om te slapen.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Ja jongens, de nieuwe dag begint in Pembroke Hospital. En dat betekent dat wij straks in de volgende video ook gaan kijken wat er gebeurt. Dat gaan we samen doen. Deze video maken we een checkpoint van. En dan hoop ik jullie in de volgende video weer te ontmoeten. En te kijken wat er op dag 2 gebeurt in het ziekenhuis. Bedankt voor het kijken en graag tot de volgende keer.